Spring has sprung. It's unboxing day. You have a new box. You have to look at me again. I get to tell you what you'll be noshing on for your culture club this season. We want you to embrace the blossoms, embrace the pollen, embrace new growth, and celebrate it with your first picnic, your first outdoor concert. All of the things that we look forward to when spring and summer are coming, we've encapsulated in your culture club box. So let's dive in. We're going to go savory first, then make you a drink, then have some sweets, and here we go. Let's start with our softest cheese, your Leonora. Leonora is a longtime favorite of your Caputo mongers. We've been slinging this for quite a long time, and it's one that we've loved very much. However, it's become even better recently, and the improvement has reinvigorated us into force feeding it into the mouths of all of you, and in a very nice, kind way. Think of it like a communion of sorts. This is a goat's milk cheese from Leon in Spain, and it is really unique in the way that it is aged, in the shape that it takes, and ultimately how it tastes. So this is Leonora. This is why we love her. You get this trifecta of textures, and you often don't see that in goat's milk cheeses. When we think of goat's milk cheeses, we think of things like Chev. That's about where it stops. You get that cakey, flaky, very capric acid, tangy texture and flavor, and it doesn't linger. There's not a lot of finish, there's not a lot of length, but Leonora takes that and makes it happy and whole and lengthy and worthy of your excitement as well as ours. There is a soft, bloomy rind exterior to it, so there is mold growth on the outside. And because of how soft, bloomy rind cheeses, you get this really, really lovely, kind of chewy exterior. And because of the brick shape that it ages in, the aging of the cheese is such that it ages from the outside in, so you get this really lovely, very sexy, starting to kind of cream out cream line. This is going to feel really velvety and silky and soft on your palate, and then that then gives way into that cakier, flakier Chev texture that we know and love. However, while the texture and the capric acid are still there, you get this bright, lemon zesty, very flavorful, wonderful texture and love that I hope you find really pleasing. So this is a really great cheese for pairing with your first bottle of chili rosé. If you want to cook with it, I love to whisk it down with a little bit of half and half, and maybe a little bit of like a honey wine vinegar to make something of a goat cheese dressing. Toss that with your grilled asparagus or your roasted artichokes or your steamed or charred leeks. All of those flavors are going to be acidic and bright and very complimentary to whatever you decide to drink for your first coming out evening. So that is your Leonora. And of all of the cheeses, this is the one that I would recommend eating the most quickly and first. The others are a bit more patient and will hang around in your refrigerator a little bit longer. This is the one that is the most time sensitive, and you should prioritize this in your list of things to eat. Let's move on to our revived Chbrin. We have a handful of revived cheeses at Caputo's. These are cheeses that are not transformed or created into something new in our capes, but rather rehabilitated to how they were supposed to be and were when they were released from wherever these cheeses were made. Chbrin comes from the Onati Cooperative in the Basque region of France. It is another goat's milk cheese. We're very, very goat friendly when it comes to spring flavors because it lends itself to all of that spring herbaceousness and aromatic and new growth. This one has a texture similar to another cheese we carry called Osoi Rati, which is a classic sheep's milk cheese from the same region. This is the region that is known for that Oso in particular, Gâteau Basque with sour cherries, and this is kind of a reinterpreted version of the same cheese, but with goat's milk. And where we expect that capric acid tang in the Leonora and other goat's milk cheeses, this doesn't have that. It is milky, grassy, very mild, very soft, very complementary to more minerally white wines. Think like your French Sancerre. We want you to have something like that with this because it is sophistication in a snack. We don't want this to just be a snacking cheese. It is really, really easy to incorporate into prepared dishes and a star on cheese plates. But if you're going to have a lazy Sunday afternoon, this and a glass of wine will make you feel like you are not summering, but springing in the French Basque region. I would also mention that this rind is delicious. It's completely edible, but it is up to you whether you want to taste it or see if you like it or not. Try it, see what you think. I think it adds a really, really nice texture to the whole experience, but I also find that some people don't enjoy that. So try it, tell us what you think, choose a side. I'll still love you either way, but if you don't like it, I think you're wrong. Now, Alp Blossom. You likely know this cheese because it is one of the most visually pleasing cheeses we have. This one hails from Germany and is a classic pressed alpine style cheese. However, the beauty of this one lies in its appearance. Alp Blossom gets packed with a lot of different blossoms, grasses, flowers from around where this cheese is made, and the appearance is striking. This is one that we always recommend putting on a cheese board if you're going to include something that needs a bit more visual oomph. So there is your pile of dried flowers. Here is your very dense, very lovely, very savory paste. When I put a cheese like this on a board, my favorite thing to do is to just let it sit and watch what people do. Because when you see something covered in flowers, we assume that it's going to be sweet and floral and feminine and all of the things that we expect from like a hug from your mother after you haven't seen her for 2 years because of COVID. But then you cut off a piece, you bring it closer to your mouth, and even just the smell, but once it gets into your mouth, it is funky, it is savory, it is like French onion soup come to life in a cheese, and it's more like a hug from your weird uncle instead. And that part makes me quite excited. You play a bit of a trick on your friends, but the trick of the eye lends to a really, really surprising flavor. One that you're not expecting, but one that is quite remarkable. So this is, of course, a wonderful choice for your cheese boards. I want people to really enjoy and appreciate that flower exterior. However, it melts really, really, really well. So if you're going to maybe do a griddle full of your favorite spring vegetables, drop little bits of this all over the pan as you're searing it in cast iron. And it'll create this really savory kind of cheese frico at the bottom of your cast iron that becomes crunchy, becomes caramelized, will change the game for your vegetables. They will be cool again. Kids will love it. They will celebrate you. We all win. So, Alp Blossom. Now, your salumi. If you chose the vegetarian option, you're getting one thing, and if you didn't choose the vegetarian option, you're getting another thing. But both of these things should bring you an immense amount of joy and happiness. So let's start with your fig salami. This was something we started getting really interested in to give our vegetarian and vegan friends an option. The cheese board is something that is really special because it becomes the gathering place of where people gravitate to at the beginning of a party. They gather there to have their first bites, to begin conversation, and it's a really engaging and fun place to be a part of. But if you're a vegetarian, that leaves a little bit for you to not enjoy. So enter the fig salami. This does not replace salami for us. However, it becomes a really wonderful component to a cheese board. I love this as a fruit component to my cheese boards, but if you're a vegetarian, you're going to be able to experience those same kind of savory, aromatic, herbaceous flavors that your carnivorous friends are experiencing, and you still get to be included in on the fun. So this one in particular is Greek figs with orange zest and pepper. You get a little bit of sweet, you get a bit of savoriness from that pepper. It feels inclusive, it feels fun, and the texture is almost reminiscent of the interior of a fig Newton, but grown up, gussied up, ready to be a partner to, truthfully, all three of these cheeses. But I would recommend starting with the Chbrin. I think that kind of natural sweetness of the Chbrin and of this will be really, really special together. So slice it like salami, enjoy. If you're a vegetarian, I also really love this in a frittata. So if you feel like cooking, try pan frying both sides so you get a little bit of caramelization and crunch, but then chop it up and throw it in your next frittata, maybe with some Leonora, and see where brunch takes you. And have a mimosa, obvi. Now, your Loukanika from Olympia Provisions. Eli Cairo, we know you, we love you, we celebrate you. You are perfect and please never change. This is the kind of family recipe of the Cairo family. Eli grew up in Sandy, and this is something that really helped to connect us to him. It brings us closer to that Greek community that is so vibrant and full in Salt Lake City, and we love them for that. But this was made for Eli's sister, Michelle, as a thank you for all the work she did in working with the USDA. And it was supposed to be a one-time thing, but Michelle is brilliant, because all women are, and she entered it into the Good Food Awards, and of course it won, so now they're stuck with it forever, which means I get to have it forever, and now you get to have it as well. So Loukanika just means sausage or salami in Greek, but for them, this is their family recipe. So you get some cumin, and you get a hint of orange zest. It is really, really aromatic and a really, really fun look into something that we don't get to experience quite as often. We get to talk about Italian salumi culture quite often. We get to talk about things from the Iberian Peninsula and France quite often. But when we talk about Greece, we don't get to talk about cured meats a lot. And this is our opportunity, and it is one that is done so well that I don't think we need to expand the conversation to anybody else, because this is the top shelf, superior choice. I don't want anything else. Cairo family, I just love you so much. Thank you for this. Thank you, Michelle, for your Good Food Award idea, because if this went away, I would have to riot, and then you'd be seeing more of me in a not so pleasant manner. So some Loukanika for your enjoyment. White Negroni, but that uses pink lemon. So we're gonna call it a pink lemon white Negroni. It uses the pink lemon bitters from Workhorse Rye. We will include the recipe in the description. We will make it available to you, but it celebrates bitters. Bitters are the seasoning of cocktails, and that's what they were intended for. However, cooking with these is incredibly fun. Adding this just to a seltzer makes me feel like less of a schmuck, and like I'm not just drinking hangover drinks, but like I'm having something that still makes me feel excited and interested in what I'm drinking. So these are from our friend Rob Easter at Workhorse Rye, who is, I think, really changing the way we look at spirits and the way we look at the food and grains that go into those things. Rob distills all of his base spirits for all of his bitters. Most other bitters companies buy neutral grain spirits to use as the base for their bitters, and then they'll add in all of the flavoring components and roots and herbs and barks and let that maceration do the talking. But you get with Workhorse this kind of baseline nuance that you don't see in a lot of other places. So you have a really, really delicious spirit at its base that is also contributing flavor, complexity, depth, texture, all of the things that we don't think much about in bitters. But when you try this by itself, you'll find that it is much lengthier, much more robust than a lot of the bitters. This one is made with pink lemons from the Sierras, so it's got a slightly pink fruit to the interior, and also some Oaxacan hibiscus, because that's what we love about it. The base is Mexican cane rum and a bit of rye distillate, and it is Sprung in a bitters bottle. So make Yelena's Negroni, send us a picture. I will send you virtual kisses for doing so, but this is something that I think you will find yourself reaching for quite often as you continue to create cocktails, or just as you pour yourself a glass of sparkling water. Try a couple dashes of this and see what happens. The next time you make a meringue or a pastry cream or a cake, try a couple drops of this. It's going to create a really lovely baseline complexity that we often find ourselves looking for in really, really sweet desserts, that this will help you achieve and make you ultimately happier and a better baker. So there you go. That's it. Those are your drinks. We have dessert now. You have a few other extra snacks. We are getting one of either of our Spanish Turon. The etymology of this can be traced back maybe to Northern Africa or to other parts of the Iberian Peninsula, but if you've seen Turon, same idea. If you've seen it in Latin America, same idea. The base for all of them is sugar, egg whites, honey, and almonds. So what we have here are the two different options that you'll see in Spain, and these are often enjoyed on Christmas Day, either after your big Christmas lunch or your Christmas dinner. You get the choice of soft or hard. Turon blando is soft, not bland, but soft. Turon duro is hard. So what you will get is a really, really soft, really chewy Turon in this one. This one I love with coffee. I think having this with a really wonderful fruity cup of coffee helps to melt the Turon on your palate and make it feel almost more velvety and a bit more silky, but I really, really love that. And if you're having Turon duro, I like to just take a hammer to this entire package because we're eating the whole package or you're not leaving. I will whack at it with a hammer wherever I feel like hitting it. It'll break into a bunch of different pieces, so you're not having to try to break it with your fingers, and then you don't give everybody your cooties. But this and brandy or a glass of sherry is a game changer. Do not at me, do not fight with me. I am right on this one and I don't want to talk about it, but if you love it, let's have Turon together. This is stuff that will keep pretty well in your pantry, but I don't think you're going to have it last too long. So if you're looking for ways to incorporate this into your cooking, this is a knockout star for adding to blondies or brownies. I think adding a bit of chew makes your edge pieces even more fun texturally. And this one, Yelena, again, hi Yelena, added this to a gelato or a semifreddo once upon a time. So whip a bunch of cream, maybe add some bitters to flavor your whipped cream, and then mix in pieces of hammered Turon and let it freeze, and you have the predecessor, the great-great-great-grandfather of gelato and ice cream. But this frozen is quite a treat, or it can be used as a sundae topping if you're not making semifreddo. So enjoy these. Last thing, Rituals Peru. This is made with a Nacional cacao bean, which is one of the most rare, and we also thought went extinct in the early 90s. It was thought to have gone completely extinct because of an outbreak of the witch's broom disease, but we've rediscovered it. It's been tested by the FCIA with the help of the Heirloom Cacao Preservation Fund, and this is flavor and texture that begs for a lot of very fun snacking with things like amari and other digestives. However, this is also my favorite choice for a dark chocolate s'more. So if you have camping on the brain, take her with you and put her between some graham crackers and top it with some marshmallow. It's actually one of the tasting notes on the back of this. The tasting notes are toasted peanuts, marshmallow, and apricot. So put those ideas in your head in between a s'more and tell me you're not excited. Ritual is the darling of craft chocolate. We've loved them for a very long time. Their packaging, their mold, their temper, their texture, their commitment to extracting terroir has been really, really important in helping to develop the Utah chocolate scene, but also develop their own voice. So Ritual, we love you. Thank you for this. My s'mores, thank you. My friends, thank you, because they're all getting a taste of it too. And I have to go make s'mores now. So it's been really fun and really nice, but I'm hungry. So enjoy your Culture Club box. Tell us what you do with it. Tell us what your favorite is. Show us what you make, and we'll see you next season. But happy snacking. Love you.